short circuit workout. So what are you going to do today? You're going to need your full weight selection. So just think light, medium, heavy is what you're going to need. We're not going to use weights for every exercise, but you do want to have something available in case you want to use the weights, because there will be some where it's totally up to you and some where you'll definitely need weights. So light, medium, heavy is what we're looking at. And then you also want a mini band. So mini band is going to be one of these two kinds of friends. Either one of these kind of rubbery bands, usually color-coded, kind of like a stoplight, red, yellow, green for light, medium, heavy, but reverse that, or black for kind of the extreme of the heaviness, or one of these bands, which are amazing. These are fabric bands. They are much, much, much stronger than their rubber counterparts. So they are kind of pricey. I mean, not like $100, but for what you get, you'll probably have that feeling of, why is this so expensive? But they are a great option if you have been using these rubber bands and have kind of exceeded the challenge, because at some point these just aren't enough for certain exercises. So this is a great option if you are ready for it, but make sure you're ready, because the next level challenge is real with one of these guys, okay? And then you're going to just need your yoga mat, your floor support, whatever it is that keeps you comfy, cozy in the floor. And if you have a Rizzo close by, doesn't hurt to have one of those working out with you too. So what are we doing today? We are doing what I like to call short circuits. We've done a few of these before. This is short circuits, Buns and Guns 2, because we've done one previously. So short circuits, very similar to when we do a full circuit class, but basically we're making it 2 mini classes. So it's a great option if you've only got, say, 30 minutes to work out, or if your fitness level is at where only 30 minutes is what you need, then this is a perfect option, because you can take this one class and make it 2. So we'll work out for our Buns segment. So obviously that's going to be all booty work. We're going to do 4 exercises, 1 minute rounds, 20 seconds off in between. And then we get to the end of 4, we take a break for 1.5 minutes, and then we start all over. We'll do that 4 times. And then we'll take a little bit longer break, kind of reset ourselves. And then we're going to do the guns portion. So the guns portion is going to be, think shoulders, like the top front and the front of our shoulders, our biceps and our triceps. That's going to be our gun show portion of our short circuits. So that's what we're working today. These classes are great, again, because you can just let your brain check out, let the timer do the work. You don't have to count any reps, nothing like that. Just listen to the timer, move to your own beat, move to your own music. If you can have some music playing at home, this is also a great opportunity to do that. So definitely recommend all of those things. And again, if you're a beginner, you can either just do the Buns circuit or the Guns circuit, or you can do the Buns circuit for as long as you can. Maybe that's 2 rounds, 3 rounds instead of 4, and then take a longer break, and then meet us back for the Guns and do 2 or 3 rounds or whatever works for you of that. So you've got lots of options. Fits every fitness level. So the last couple things I always mention, of course, social media is how we do things these days. So anything you can do social media related, likes and shares and favorites and all those things, to help get more people paying attention to what we are doing here at Strong Style Fitness would be greatly appreciated. You might think that your little share doesn't matter, but I see it when it happens. I don't always know who has shared. I can't see that because a lot of the privacy settings, but I do see sometimes when people share that I get feedback, I get new likes, things like that. So it definitely helps. And lastly, speaking of help, if you'd like to donate any funds for these classes, Venmo at Strong Style Fit is where you'll find me. Donations are accepted there, and is the only payment that I receive, so it is greatly appreciated when you can give. All right, guys, so where we are going to start with is the Bun circuit. So we're going to do a 2-count sumo squat with a pressed back. So that'll be our first exercise. So I'll show you the first and then coach you through as we go from there, okay? So 2-count sumo squat, we're going to go wide, 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 toes at 10 and 2-ish. We're going to make sure we've got our tail tucked. When we take our legs wide, we tend to kind of lean forward and stick our butt out behind us. So we get our tail nice and tucked, chest nice and tall. If you want to wait, you can hold a weight here like a bow tie or here like a goblet. And we're going to go, here like a goblet or down here. You've got a lot of options. And we're going to go 1, 2, press our knees back, 1, 2, up. 1, 2, down, press back, 1, 2, up, okay? So you can usually do a pretty heavy weight for this, just the one weight, and that's all you're gonna need to get started, and then I'll show you the next 3 exercises as we go. You do need the one heavy weight. You will need one heavy weight optional for the next 2 exercises, and you'll need your mini band for the 4th exercise, all right? So let's go ahead and get ourselves all set up. And I'm going to take a quick drink of water, take a video. I'll be right back. All right, my friends. So, also just a note, sumo squats, especially if you've been sitting at a desk all day, when you first do them, you're going to feel a little stiff, most likely, but I put them at the first exercise of the series for a reason, because they're great stretches if we have been sitting in the chair all day. So just know the first round, you're probably going to be like, ooh, but then it'll feel better as we get through the rest. All right, guys, so I'm going to reach over, start the timer, and it's going to start right away. So go ahead and get yourself set, grab your weight, get those feet nice and spread, and we'll get started. In 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So, nice and wide, and we go 1, 2, press back, 1, 2, up. 1, 2, press back, 1, 2, up. Now, feel free to move at your own pace. We're not doing reps here, so move at whatever feels good for you. Just listen to the timer. That's the important part. I feel super stiff in my hips. Those press backs are like, no. But it'll get better. It always does. In your press back, you might be so tight that it's just kind of a sensation. Perfect, but it's not even an actual press back. You might just send the energy that way and they just barely move, and that's okay. You're not looking, you might be flexible enough to do that, but that's not your goal. It's the sensation that you're looking for. All right, guys, next exercise, we're doing a single leg deadlift with a curtsy lunge. We've done these a couple times recently. So, we've got our left leg forward, little bend in that knee, kickstand with our right leg. We're gonna iron those pants back, stand, curtsy lunge back, bring it back. Single leg deadlift, stand, curtsy, up. Perfect. So remember, single leg deadlift is all about sitting those hips back. We're not squatting. Hips come back, nice flat back. Curtsy. Our weight is ironing those pants down, right up against our leg. Right up against that leg. Never dangle the weight away from our body. Perfect. All right, other side. So we're going to keep that weight scraping down our leg, okay? Super, 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 super important. I guess, let's see. I'll face the same direction so you can see the right leg. All right, so hips are squared off. Bend that knee. Iron our pants down. Up. Curtsy. Back to stand. stamping with control. Softly. You don't hear my feet touching the ground. We are moving with control. And guys, if you're feeling this, well, the curtsy you will feel in your quad and your glute. But if you're doing a deadlift and you feel your quad, that means that you're squatting, you're not deadlifting. All right, so it's coming down to the floor. Put that band on. Now we're going to do alternating mule kicks. I'm going to get you started and I'm going to show you an advanced option. So alternating mule kicks, we've got our tabletop position, flex our feet, and we're stamping the sole of our shoe to the ceiling. So we're keeping that sort of 90-degree bend in our leg, squeezing through our tush. Up. Now, advanced version, you can go into the bear position. So you would lift your knees up and push up. Same thing, you're just hovering your knees. My left knee is a little ornery today, and that's a little intense in my left knee, so I'm going to stay here, at least for this round till I get a little more warmed up. All right, come on up. We got a 1.5-minute break, and then we're going to go through that again. So we have 3 more trips through on that one. Buns should be definitely feeling engaged, if not already a little on fire. And they will definitely be feeling on fire, I would say, after this next round for sure. Sometimes you have to wake everything up, and then they really start working. So, hold the 2-count sumo squat with the press back will be where we'll start. But we've got 55 seconds, so a nice little break. Catch your water. This is also a great time to reevaluate. Maybe your weight selection was too heavy or too light. A great time to evaluate all that. Or work back through and rethink, make sure your sumo or your single leg deadlift is working right. We have 30 seconds, so just a quick tip on that single leg deadlift. If you are doing your single leg deadlift and you feel your quads, that means chances are you are squatting versus sitting your hips back. So see how different that looks? My hips are high, high, high versus squatting. Very different, right? So if you're like, I always feel my quads when I deadlift, that is probably what you are doing. One, two, press it back. 1, 2, press it back. 1, 2, press it back. 1, 2, press it back. And you guys might notice I've got a nice little pop of color behind me here. Brought in some flowers from the garden. A lovely, my favorite indoor plant, the flamingo plant over here. Charlie and I are avid gardeners. All right, bring it on up. We've got that single leg deadlift with the curtsy coming up next. So you have the dianthus, some zinnias, flamingo plant. Our zinnias, we've had this beautiful crop for ages. It keeps producing seed and producing seed. They're actually from my dad's garden for years. And then this year, all the seeds we saved from last year did not come back. We were so sad. We had 2 little plants. or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say they didn't come back. We took the seeds, we planted them, and none of them sprouted. It was so weird. We had 2 sprouts. So we dug those 2 sprouts up, planted them in this little plant, in this little pot, so we can start our heritage zinnias all over again. Woo! Yes, yes, yes. Other side. I don't know about you guys. The buns are feeling it. Alright guys, so we've got right leg, exact same motion, single leg deadlift with that curtsy. So we've got our right leg forward, hips squared off, bend that knee slightly, iron those pants down, hips stay high, and sit back. Curtsy. So we're high, 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 not squatting. Curtsy. So you want to think more about I'm touching my butt to the wall behind me versus I'm touching my butt to the floor. I know that's very different. A lot of times our bodies just keep going, nope, nope, nope. We're supposed to squat here. You gotta get the stern talking to. You'll notice too, guys, my curtsies are not super duper wide. Self-included, and I'll show you during our break, got this misconception that curtsies are these really, really wide step outs behind you. They're actually not. That's not what they're about. So I'll cover that in our break. All right, set up that tabletop. And remember, for the extra challenge, you can hover your knees. If you're not taking that extra challenge of hovering your knees, then really pick a tough, challenging band. It should be a struggle and a pull to get these legs up. You should not be able to just rocket kick your leg up. That band should really be putting up a fight. Keep that foot flexed. Perfect. Come on up. Round 2 complete. So yeah, curtsies, self-included. Just got this misconception that they were supposed to be these huge, you know, like way back here. But you see that does. My hips all cocked out here. My knee is in this really funky position. Same goes for back here. So instead, try keeping it, square your hips off and keep it narrow. Now my hips are still in alignment. My knee's not quite so funky. Everything's just a little better aligned, especially in those hips. So think about that next round through. Am I a giant princess curtsy? Can I bring it back in and see what the difference feels like? Whew, we got about 34 seconds. I'm gonna pop another video real quick. All right, guys, 2 more trips through. We got buns of steel happening. Oh. Now what happened? My finicky knees, my left one hasn't bothered me all day. And as I'm like getting dressed to come out here, it's like, don't like you now. All right, guys, sumo squat. 1, 2, press back, bring it up. Again, tuck that tail and keep it tucked. as you're lowering. Now, if the press back is causing you any knee discomfort, just let it go. Just sumo and back up. Press back, just a little icing on the cake. 2, 3, 4. So don't forget that 2 count. Perfect. All right. Single leg deadlift, curtsy. I know I've been using these a lot lately, but 1, they're awesome. And 2, we talk about I like to carry over exercises just to give you more and more practice. I hate to introduce something new and then not revisit it again for 3 months. Because then you haven't really learned it. One of my goals is, because I know chances are you're not just doing these 2 videos a week, that you're going somewhere else and working out. So I want you to have exercises you can take with you when you go to the gym. And if we've only done it once, and then we don't do it again for 3 months, chances are it's not making it to the gym with you. So I like to repeat exercises a few times in a row when I can, when it makes sense. So you've really got opportunity to learn it. Woo! Man, oh man. Left cheek on fire. All right, we've got the right leg. So don't forget, if you didn't this first on the left side, turn on the right side, narrowing that curtsy a little bit. Okay? Just give it a shot. To me, it feels like a much more stable exercise too. And again, like we've talked about, if you're someone who works out with me a lot, you're really working the more accurate part of your muscle group by keeping your hips squared off. When you let that hip flare out, like you have to do a big wide curtsy, you really work more of this like outer hip. Something I've done far too much my entire life because of my scoliosis. Perfect. Come on down to the floor. I know I talk so much about alignment and proper form, but I can't state to you guys enough. We only get one body. We've got to take care of it. Can we get some replacement parts? We can, but they never work as well as what was given to us. So we've got to preserve what we have. And if we can do that by exercising safely, all the better. Building a strong body and doing it the right way. Remember guys, you can be in that bear position, hovering your knees if you want. It's a great way to up the ante on this exercise. But it can be tough on your knees if you have any knee sensitivity. All right, guys, let's run 3 or 4. We got one more trip through. I'm definitely sweating. Feel it coming down my head. Ooh, more than anything, I feel glutes. And that is really what we're working today. The curtsy, you're gonna get some quad in there too, for sure. But everything we're working today is really isolating that nice little booty back there. Which, talking about strong bodies, building glutes is such a huge component of that. I know we think about building booty as an aesthetic thing, which is, it is a wonderful aesthetic thing, but it is also a huge component into keeping us strong and stable, walking correctly, and protecting our lower back. It's a huge part of all of that. So while it is very aesthetically pleasing, it is also super functional too. On my functional training, people laugh because they're like, we know it's glute work, like we know it's gonna be glute work, because it's just such a huge part of it. So I love it. And trust me, I may not have a ton of jump in the trunk, but everything that's back there is purely from work. I was not gifted anything. Not a thing. If you could have had any for a tush, that's what I was working with. So anything you see happening back there was purely worked for. So guys, I'm taking the press back out of my equation just because the knee that is cranky today. I feel like the risk reward just isn't there. But again, if you want it, you just give that little press back at the bottom. Probably notice now you're a lot warmer. Your sumo is probably a lot lower than it was when we started. And just a heads up, we hold the weight in this direction as sort of a goal of being able to touch the floor with our weight. But we don't do that by sacrificing and bending over. Perfect. Set that weight down. So yeah, that's kind of our goal, is to tap that weight. But we want to do that while still keeping our chest tall, our tail tucked, not by bending over and touching the floor. All right, guys, single leg deadlift left with the curtsy. All right. Again, keeping that weight super close. It is rolling down your pants. I'm literally scraping my fingernails down my pants. Control. Light steps. Not hearing this foot thud either direction. Ten seconds, guys. Woo! Right side. I think you'll notice too, if you're a knee pain person like me, while not every curtsy lunge is perfect and pain-free still, I have a lot less complications, a lot less of those like, that, you know, that just brief like oof moments. A lot less of those now that I'm keeping the curtsy smaller. And again, I don't mean shallower, I just mean not as wide. Curtsy lunges used to provide to me, if you're a, especially arthritis person, you know that like not lingering, just that sharp kind of stab. Curtsy lunges used to cause that a lot for me. Now that I've narrowed them, not so much. Perfect. All right, come on down. Last trip through on those alternating mule kicks. All right. Set up that nice strong tabletop. Lift up into bear. You're working there. Not, join me. Tabletop. Stamp that foot on the ceiling. Boom. And try to think of it. You know, if you've been doing these a long time, sometimes you just kind of get bored with them. We're like, oh, we know what we're doing. We just go through the motions. So I encourage you to really slow it down and get no momentum. And just all squeeze. So momentum looks like this. Squeeze is here. So I encourage you, if you're in that place where you just feel like you're not getting much, or you're just bored with the movement, slow it down and work through that squeeze. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, friends. Buns round, done. You can get rid of that band. You won't need it for guns. So that can get out of your way. Perfect, guys. All right, so we're gonna catch our breath for a little bit. I'm gonna check this time. Good. Give ourselves just a couple minutes. Collect ourselves. Again, we don't want to get all cooled off. We want to keep a nice little simmer. So I definitely encourage you to step touch, do a nice little jog, just something to keep that simmer on while we're taking our break. So, if you're just looking for a 30-minute workout, this is a great place to cut out. Or if you're a beginner and maybe you stopped after 1 or 2 rounds of the buns, meet us back here for the first couple rounds of guns. So this is a great, great way to modify. Another way you can modify that I didn't mention before is we work for a minute. Maybe you just work for 30 seconds and then do all 4 rounds, but just do it for 30 seconds instead of a minute. It's one of the great things about circuit, and that's why I use variations of circuit so often in these videos, is because it's just so accessible to everyone. The only downside I talk about a lot is for some reason it's got this reputation for being easy, which I totally don't understand. So I think it turns off some people who think, oh, I want a harder workout. I need something that's called a boot camp. I guarantee you some of my circuits are just as hard as my boot camps. All right, guys, so we are moving into the guns portion. So here you are going to need medium to light weights. And I would say err on the side of light. Really no heavy weight work here. So we're going to do alternating overhead press. And I'm going to use this little lengthier break. I was behind when we started the video because of technical difficulties, but I'll use this little break to tell you where we're going, and then we'll get started. So we're going to do alternating overhead press. So that means that we are constantly holding the weights like this. And then we're going to alternate our press up. So that's a little extra challenge because we are never releasing the weights completely. We are always here, one work. This is a whole separate kind of work from a push-up. Then we're going to do a Zotman curl, which we just did in our last video. Again, trying to carry some things over. So we bicep curl up, we flip the weights, we lower them down. Curl up, flip, lower. We're working 2 different parts of the bicep, and we're working our forearms when we lower, which forearms are really important when it comes to starting to lift heavier weights. I also see it where it's important really at any point. I have one client who's amazing, works so hard, is fit, is great, but her forearms just aren't there. And she definitely sees some struggles with certain exercises because of that. So, Zotman curls, we're gonna work those. We're gonna do front lateral raise, we're gonna do front, lateral, front, lateral. Those will be light weights. Your Zotman curls might be a little lighter than your normal bicep curl. And then we're going to do alternating single overhead tricep. So overhead tricep, we're here, and we drop weight behind our head. Okay? So I will admit, I've always done these as overhead press, single arm, but we're gonna give it a shot. I think it'll work just fine. I just haven't done it before, so I thought it sounded cool. So guys, I'm gonna take a quick sip, check the video, and then we will get rocking and rolling. That's about a 3-minute break we've taken now. That's perfect. We need to get started. All right, guys, so let's see. Front lateral raise. I really want to graduate to 8s, so I'm going to give it a shot. I really want to do it. And then probably going to go try 10s with everything else. I had 12s. I would probably try 12s for some of these, but I'm going to start with 10s, see if anything feels graduate to 15 ready. All right, so we're going to start with that alternating overhead press. I'm going to hit start on the timer in 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So we load it up. We've got our shoulders, our elbows slightly ahead of our shoulders. We're not back here. We're a little bit ahead, and we alternate up. Now, keep in mind, too, guys, that not only do we have this constant pressure here of holding the weight, we are also doing it for a minute, which is probably more than the 10 to 12 reps we normally do. So that might be another reason to consider going lighter. Now, I'm not trying to be discouraging. Challenge yourself for sure. But I just know if you're anything like me, let's say I always do 15s and then I can't, I'm like, what the heck? What's happening? What's going on? I get all worked up about it. So I'd like to tell you reasons why you might need to go lighter. Perfect. And that feels about right, to be honest. All right, so we've got our 20-second break, and we've got those Zottman curls. So I'll show you too. On the way down, indication that your weight might be a little too heavy. All right, so we curl up, we flip, and we come down. Your elbows should be able to stay still locked into your sides. A signal that your weight might be too heavy is when you come down, if you have to like flare an elbow out. Now I'll show you a really dramatic version of that. It might be more subtle. It might be kind of here. If those elbows flare out and you can't keep them locked in, that's a good signal that the weight is too heavy. And I'm definitely on the lighter end for me. And normally I curl 15s all the way up to the 25s on our power hour. These are 10s because that lower is a whole different ball game. All right, we've got front lateral raises. So again, this is usually going to be about the lightest weight that you do. I'm going to challenge myself with some 8s here. Hopefully I won't have to resign myself back to those damn 5s. And I only say that, no insult to the 5s, because I used to do like 2s. But it's one of those, I just feel like I've been at those damn 5s for like years. Now guys, with the front raise, we are keeping our shoulders pegged back into their sockets. A lot of us are like this, right, because of computer work. And so when we go to lift to the front, we roll that shoulder forward. You want to keep it back and extend, and then again, slightly ahead of our shoulders when we lift laterally, just like that overhead press. Ten seconds. I'm about to give myself a pat on the back for making it a minute with the 8s. Woo! Yay! Now, can I do the whole class? We'll see. have been stuck in the lands of the fives forever. All right, now I have no idea what weight I need with these alternating single overhead triceps. You may find you don't either, so just be flexible with it. So we've got our arms up, but our shoulders are down. So we're not up like this, shoulders are down, and we drop behind our head. Squeeze at the top, drop, squeeze. Oh yeah, this is money. Squeeze. Good, so these just hit our triceps in another direction. Biceps, triceps, there's really only so many things we can do. Right legs, there's a million motions. Shoulders, a million motions. Back, chest even, there's quite a few motions in chest. The biceps, triceps are like curl, 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 curl. So this is a great way to hit tricep in just another way and from another direction. Woo, yeah. I like it. Awesome. All right, so we got our break in a minute and a half. So again, guys, don't get cool on this one. I know we're working upper body. That usually doesn't generate the same amount of sweat as lower body works. So just make sure you're not getting cold. That's all I say. You don't want to waste that beautiful warmth that you've built throughout the workout. You don't want to waste that. You want to keep that. That's what keeps our muscles pliable and flexible, which means they're more able and ready to work. So I'm not saying cold because I want to see you sweat and I want you to be miserable. I literally mean I want those muscles to stay warm and flexible. Whew. That being said though, drink your water. Your muscles also need to be hydrated. All right, we got 30 seconds. So again, reevaluate your weights. We did some stuff that's a little different. So reevaluate where you're at and think about if maybe you can take an extra challenge on too. It's a timed effort. So, you know, if you get to 45 seconds or so, and then you need to drop your weights, then you're, stay at that weight. You've made it almost the whole time. Either go to a lower weight or drop them. But if you can only do like 10, 15, 20 seconds of weight before you have to drop them and pick up something lighter, then maybe it's time just to stay on that lighter side. All right, alternating overhead press. Shoulders relaxed, away from those ears. Try to think about relaxing that space behind your ears. I know it's hard to work and relax at the same time, but just think about that kind of space with the crown of your, or the base of your head, where your ears are. Just if you can let that go. That left shoulder was like, yeah, that's good. We're good. 10's good. All right, we got those Zotman curls. So again, elbows are nice and tight as you're lowering those weights down. If your elbows have to flare, if they have to go somewhere, you lighten those weights just a little bit. All right, shoulders back and down, elbows close. We curl, we flip, we lower. Good. Make sure we're lowering with control. That's where the work comes, right? If we just let the weights flop down, there's not a lot of work to that. We're just hanging on. You gotta lower them down. It's funny, forearms. I talked about this in the last class. It's just something that I feel like I naturally always had big forearms, but I was also an athlete growing up, so maybe I just developed them. Now I don't notice them so much. I guess maybe the rest of my muscles have filled out a little bit around them, maybe. Perfect. All right, front lateral raise. And again, we're not trying to build like big Popeye forearms. Mine are pretty big. But we are trying to, we use forearms a lot in plank and in our grip. Major components to our grip. And it's something you probably don't notice, you know, when you're working in the lighter range of things. But when weights get heavy, and I mean heavy for you, that's when you'll start to notice. I was telling a story in the last class that doing farmer's carries, which farmer's carries is basically take the heaviest damn kettlebell you can find and hold it in one hand to your side like this and walk with it. And I was trying to do a 50-pound kettlebell, and I just couldn't, I mean, my arms were just, they just couldn't, I couldn't keep my grip on them, and it was killing me. And the person I was working with at the time took glove wraps, where you wrap your hands when you kickbox, and wrapped them to my grip, wrapped them to my hand so I couldn't drop them. Even then it was still a mess, but yeah, I held them in my hand, and then he like kickboxing wrapped them so they were just stuck to my hand. It was hilarious. Not the most efficient, because then we had to unwrap them so I could do something else and then wrap them back up. All right, arms up, shoulders down. We drop. You're keeping that weight really close to your head. Now, obviously, don't bonk yourself in the top of the head, but you're keeping it really close because you want to keep that elbow nice and in alignment. You don't want to crank. You don't want to keep your elbow up here and then crank your arm back like that. That's no good. So keep it nice and close. Good job, guys. Ooh, this is a fun one. I like it. Whew. All right, set those down. We have got our break. Minute and a half. So I'm just keeping a little bit of simmer on for me. Keep those muscles nice and warm. And always move those shoulders around, shake them out. If you have anything feeling a little sticky, especially fronts of our shoulders, they really like to get sticky on us. All right, guys, so we got a nice little break ahead of us. We got 45 seconds. I'm checking the camera real quick. I always joke, like, you know, you've been in fitness a long time and you're like, oh, we got so much time, we got 45 seconds. Like that just says, oh, I could get some knitting done in 45 seconds, you know. If you say anybody else in 45 seconds, we're like, that is no time at all. All right, guys, we got about 15 seconds, so now that is a little bit shorter time. So go ahead and grab those weights to get yourself ready. Make sure you have a nice sturdy base underneath you too, guys. That's super important. Definitely something I don't do well with. I tend to like start sticking my belly forward and letting my back arch when I stand doing motions like this. So I really need to think about like keep that tail nice and tucked, core engaged. Don't lock your knees out. That's another big one. I say all these things as I feel myself doing it. Breathe in. Also too, that you're not death gripping weights. That's a lot of wasted energy we spend gripping the hell out of our weights. You really, if your weights aren't You know, if you got 25-pound weights in your hands, you don't want to be loosey-goosey. But again, you don't want a death grip, you know? Ooh. Stop on that one. All right, with that Zotman curl coming up next. My left shoulder for a little bit now. It's felt like it doesn't belong to me. It feels like it's moving for somebody else. So that's what that little pause and stop was. All right, Zotman curls. Curl up, flip, and lower. I do encourage you, I said work at your own pace for sure. We're moving at the same time limit, so you move whatever pace you want, but you want to keep it ish in that 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of pace. That's just a good pace, because really lifting weights is all about time under tension. So if you're not really keeping time under tension on your muscles, when you fly through it like that, really the name of the game, no matter what the reps are that we're doing, is the time under tension, the time that you're keeping that muscle flexed, engage. So if you are moving this fast, your muscles aren't really getting a chance to respond. All right, front lateral raise. Again, we're keeping those shoulders plugged back. We're not reaching out. Plug back. Out. And that's hard. We sit curved forward all the time. So you might have to literally, after every rep, like stop, roll them back, lift. That's okay. Stopping about that shoulder height. Good job, friends. Almost there. All right, next up, those overhead triceps. Oh, I do. I feel like someone needs to just like pull my head away from my left shoulder. I'll be visiting the chiropractor tomorrow. Hopefully help with some of that. All right, arms come up tall, but again, drop those shoulders down. Keep that weight close to the head and back. Give that tricep a squeeze at the top. Good job, friends. Just get that different tricep sensation. Just moving it in yet another way. Anytime we can surprise our muscles in a good way, it's a good thing. Keep them guessing. That's why we change up pace, we change positions. Have you ever heard of muscle memory? That's what we're trying to avoid, where your muscle is just like, oh yeah, this again. And it doesn't really need to put any effort in. It memorizes what you should do. It takes less and less effort the more muscle memory you have. So that's why it's great to throw in new positions or new counts, like the 2-count sumo. Just something to keep those muscles guessing a little bit and not just going, we got this. All right, guys, we've got a minute on our break, and then we got one more trip through, and we are done. Upper body, the gun show will be complete. About 45 seconds. just about 30 seconds, guys. I hope you're enjoying these short circuits. I thought it was a fun way. You know, definitely had the thought, and Charlie and I talked about, you know, that all my workouts are 60 minutes or more. And, you know, that's just how I like to work out. I always looked for the hour-long classes, 45-minute classes, things like that. I think that's just how I know to work out. But 30 minutes are completely valid. I do 30-minute yoga classes every day. So, you know, my brain, I've always taught longer classes, alternate overhead press, at least 45-minute classes, you know, so like my brain just isn't wired for 30 minutes. So this was a great way to get in 60 minutes for those of you who like the 60-minute workouts, but also offer something shorter for those of you who are just short on time or just don't want to work out for 60 minutes. I know for some people, even if your fitness level can handle it, you just don't want to. And or for beginners, you know, anything. It's just a great way to offer something for everybody, I think. And I will say 30-minute classes are definitely refreshing. If you're someone who's used to 60-minute, like yoga, I always did 60-minute yoga classes. And when I added yoga into my morning routine, I was like, I just don't have time for, you know, a 60-minute class in the morning. All right, we've got Zottman curls coming up. So yeah, I don't have time to incorporate 60 minutes, but 30 minutes will work, and it's actually really refreshing. If you're used to a 60-minute workout, then a 30-minute workout, and you feel you've really worked, but you're like, wow, that was great. That was short, you know. I think it's just a mental trick, right? Of course it is. Zottman curls. There are definitely a few of these 30-minute yoga classes I've done that I'm like, oh my gosh, if this went any longer, I might die. Oh, there's Tuta. Hi, Rizzo. Hi, are you here for bicep curls? Hi, sweet girl. Whoa. Have you been doing your workout inside? She's been practicing her wiggles very hard. Yeah, that's her Buns workout, those little wiggles. Almost there, guys. Hang tight. If those forearms are burning, you can do it. We are at 7 seconds. Whew. All right, we've got 2 more exercises left. 2 more, Rizzo. 2 more. We are almost there. All right, front lateral raise. Remember, shoulders plug back. Don't give in to the roll. Don't do it. Good job. Just one last example of what I'm saying. We'll sit like this. So even when we open up, when we reach out, we tend to want to roll forward. So keep it back. Plugged back. No matter how many times you have to reset, don't care. It's fine. You're doing these 2 exercises, guys. If you're feeling anything in your neck, you're feeling your neck tense up, it means that your weights are too heavy. You're using your neck, you're straining through everything to get those weights up. So I think you just got a treat. Are you ignoring a treat? You are crazy. Oh, there it is. Woo! All right, guys, we've got 1 exercise left, and then the gun show is over. We've got that alternating overhead tricep. I'm digging this one. Can't believe it's taken me this long to do it. Instead, I've done them in conjunction with the overhead press so many times, but never on their own. Silly. All right, drop it back. Remember, we're keeping that weight close to our head. Dropping it right behind. And all that's doing is just making sure that we're keeping our elbow in alignment with the bones in our arms. that we're not keeping our elbow forward and then cranking our forearm backwards. And really drop that weight down as far as you can. We all have different flexibility in our elbows, but the more you can drop it down, the more stretch you're going to get on that tricep, which means the more contraction you're going to get when you squeeze it up. Good, friends. Almost there, literally. Get in one more, get in one more. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, yes, yes. Woo. All right, my friends. Short circuits, buns. Short circuits, guns. Couple elite. Great work, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you divide this up into two, I hope that you enjoyed the buns or the guns, whichever one that you opted for. But I hope you got a great workout and kind of saw the benefit of separating into two. Because this way, like we worked buns, if we had done all 8 of these, we wouldn't have got back to like the single leg deadlift curtsy until all the way through finishing 7 more exercises, taking a break, and then getting back to it, versus only 3 exercises and getting right back to it. It really keeps those muscles that we're focused on engaged instead of giving it a long break. So just another benefit of these shorter, more compact circuits. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you are sweating but feeling energized and pumped and ready to take on the rest of your night and eat a big old dinner, because that is what I'm shooting for. So guys, the last thing I always ask again, please share on social media, like, follow, love, ha ha ha, all those things, all those reactions that get people paying attention to us on social media and get the word out about what we are doing here. I really think we are doing something special, and I wish more people were able to take advantage of this opportunity. And last, if you do have the opportunity and the ability to give any funds for these classes, Venmo at Strong Style Fit is where you'll find me. It's the only payment I receive for these classes, so anything you can give is greatly appreciated. So guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in a few days for another workout. You guys take care. Mwah.